image of Dusseldorf Airport located in Dusseldorf South, known as one of Germany's most important aviation centers.
With its massive passenger traffic, it consistently ranks among the top 20 busiest airports in Europe.
However, behind its modern and bustling appearance, Dusseldorf Airport once suffered a horrific disaster. On an afternoon in 1996, a fierce fire broke out and quickly engulfed part of the airport,
causing severe damage to lives and property.
leaving deep pain for the victims' families and shocking international public opinion. So, what caused this terrible fire? What turned a modern aviation facility into the epicenter of such a disaster?
Let's join Kong Hong in exploring the mystery and the story.
The fire at Dusseldorf Airport, the worst airport fire in history.
And as usual, before getting into the main content,
Don't forget to leave a like
and subscribe to the channel to support our team. Thank you very much. Dusseldorf. One early summer afternoon in 1996, the ground floor of terminal was bustling with passengers coming and going. Some were hurriedly pulling suitcases from the baggage claim area after a long flight.
Others were rushing to the departure gate to catch their next flight. Everyone was busy with their journeys, completely unaware that, right above their heads, just 3 meters away, the disaster was silently approaching.
Outside the arrival hall of Terminal A, a taxi driver was buttoned off a passenger at the parking spot.
Amid the bustling flow of people, he suddenly noticed something unusual. Small, tiny sparks falling from the ceiling. It was 3:33 p.m. Immediately, 2 firefighters from the airport fire service were dispatched to the scene. They detected a faint burning smell in the air but couldn't identify its source. Perhaps some electrical equipment was smoking. Fire! A flower girl standing nearby suddenly screamed, while pointing above the ventilation duct where thin smoke was billowing up. The ceiling began to glow, burning debris scattering down to the ground.
Recognizing the emergency, the firefighters immediately summoned the entire airport fire service to the airport.
A few minutes later, dozens of firefighters with full specialized equipment had arrived. But strangely, no one could see the flames. In fact, the fire was smoldering right above them, hidden behind the false ceiling.
At 3:58 p.m., the flames suddenly erupted violently, engulfing the entire ceiling of Terminal A in a sea of fire. Dusseldorf Airport was on fire.
Let's rewind time a few hours earlier, when the flames hadn't. That afternoon, a group of welders was performing repair work on a joint on the road leading to Terminal A. They started work at 1 p.m., completely unaware that they were inadvertently creating a huge danger.
Molten metal droplets from the welding machine unfortunately fell onto the ceiling of Terminal A directly below.
Additionally, between the ceiling and the road being repaired was a layer of polystyrene foam insulation.
The frightening thing here is that this foam is a highly flammable material.
After more than 2 hours, the heated foam insulation material gradually deteriorated.
Gas accumulated in a confined space above the ceiling, forming a flammable mixture.
And then it accidentally became the last straw when the temperature peaked, a huge explosion occurred. And in an instant, the flames quickly engulfed the entire ceiling.
A major fire had officially broken out at Dusseldorf Airport.
Ironically, at that time, the airport's firefighting force was only trained to deal with aircraft fires. They were completely helpless in handling building fires. The Dusseldorf City Fire Department was urgently dispatched to the airport as soon as the fire was reported. However, just as they arrived at the scene at 4:07 p.m., the flames had already spread to the second floor of the terminal. 2 fire engines and a tanker, although deployed, were unable to control the fiercely raging fire. 8 minutes later, the scene commander was forced to mobilize all firefighting forces from Dusseldorf City and surrounding areas for support.
The city's firefighting force at that time was organized with 7 permanent stations and 10 reserve stations, including both professional firefighters and volunteers. Each shift, the unit mobilized 120 professional firefighters and 250 volunteers.
It had been a long time since the fire department had faced such a large fire. Initially, 200 liters per minute nozzles were used but still couldn't extinguish the flames. Later, they had to switch to larger nozzles, pumping 800 liters of water per minute.
At 4:07, the airport's alarm system issued an evacuation order for passengers to leave the terminal.
However, due to a technical error,
The system directed people straight for the area where the fire was occurring. Fortunately, the firefighters quickly detected and fixed this error, significantly reducing the disaster's casualties. When the warning bell rang, passengers on the ground floor evacuated promptly.
but more than 2,000 passengers and staff present on floors 2, 3, 4, 5 of the terminal and the adjacent parking lot were not so lucky. The rapidly spreading fire maximally shortened their evacuation time.
Simultaneously, the flames continued to blaze fiercely, ready to engulf everything in their path. The fire spread quickly from the first floor to the second floor via the staircase,
Escalators and ceiling duct systems.
The second floor was nearly 10 meters high, double the first floor but with a smaller floor area. Inside the second floor was a mezzanine level housing the airport's VIP lounges. Dense black smoke and flames quickly enveloped both these floors, turning the area into a death trap. While some firefighters struggled to control the flames on the terminal's first floor,
Their colleagues were racing against time to rescue trapped passengers on the upper floors. Emergency vehicles were dispatched right in front of the airport, ready to transport victims to hospitals. Most victims suffered from smoke inhalation, with clear symptoms like coughing, difficulty breathing and oxygen deprivation. Dense smoke combined with high temperatures significantly hindered the search and evacuation process.
as an inevitable consequence, many tragedies occurred afterward.
Among the victims, 9 unfortunate passengers were trapped in the Air France VIP lounge on the mezzanine level.
Unfortunately for them, this was a self-service lounge with no staff on duty.
Although they continuously called for help and provided detailed locations to the fire department at 419. All their self-rescue efforts were in vain. Layout, so they couldn't. Despite being only about 8 meters from an emergency exit, all 9 passengers couldn't escape the fire and died from smoke inhalation. There was only one survivor.
That lucky passenger was a French businessman. When smoke began filling the room, he proactively searched for an exit. However, all exits were surrounded by smoke and flames. In the emergency situation, he decided to break the window with a chair and jump to the floor below.
Although seriously injured, he miraculously survived.
Meanwhile, another group met with disaster while standing on the rooftop of a parking lot adjacent to the terminal to enjoy the view of planes taking off and landing. Noticing smoke rising from below, they hurriedly searched for an exit and decided to use the elevator to descend to the first floor. But as soon as the elevator doors opened, flames engulfed the entire area, blocking the only escape route. The elevator's sensor system was paralyzed by dense smoke, causing the doors to jam shut.
Trapped in the confined space, they couldn't escape the fire and died from smoke inhalation. 3 police officers trapped in the terminal were slightly more fortunate. Upon realizing they were surrounded by fire, they quickly used their radios to contact colleagues.
Officer Ernst G. Water, upon receiving the alert, immediately rushed inside to rescue his comrades,
but was blocked by thick black smoke. Inside the terminal, the 3 police officers tried their best to escape, even using available tools to break windows. However, all efforts were unsuccessful. Fortunately, at the critical moment, a group of firefighters wearing gas masks
appeared right at the exit and brought the 3 police officers in critical condition out of the fire area.
Thanks to the timely rescue, all 3 victims were saved. After nearly 4 hours of fighting the fire, at 7:20 p.m., the fire department was finally able to control the blaze. 2 hours later, the fire was completely extinguished. The fire caused serious damage, burning down the entire A and B terminals of Dusseldorf Airport.
After more than 3 days, the airport partially resumed operations with terminals to remain intact.
To address the congestion, local authorities had to set up tents and use aircraft hangars
as temporary terminals, hoping the airport recovered to 90% capacity.
This disaster claimed 17 lives, including 8 who died in the VIP lounge at Tan Luang. 7 in the elevator, and 1 passenger found in the restroom. Additionally, a woman who escaped the airport also died 2 weeks later due to severe injuries.
The cause of death for all victims was determined to be smoke inhalation and exposure to toxic gas.
Thousands of others narrowly escaped death. It can be said that without the bravery of the firefighters, the casualty count would likely have been much higher.
According to statistics, about 2,000 people were rescued, 66 to 82 were seriously injured, and hundreds more sustained minor injuries. 17 people lost their lives forever, hundreds were injured, and property damage amounted to billions of marks, equivalent to over $600 billion at that time.
The 1996 Dusseldorf Airport tragedy became a terrifying nightmare for the German people. The incident prompted the German government to launch a large-scale investigation to determine the cause of the disaster. The results showed that the direct cause of the fire was molten metal droplets from welding, falling onto a 7 cm thick polystyrene foam insulation layer installed beneath the concrete of the road leading to Terminal A. Notably, polystyrene foam, an extremely flammable material that was banned in construction at that time, was used illegally. Additionally, the gap between the foam and the false ceiling below had no protective measures whatsoever,
creating favorable conditions for direct contact between molten metal and flammable material. When the foam caught fire, it produced a large amount of gas. This gas accumulated in the space below the ceiling, causing temperatures to rise and triggering a large explosion that burned nearly 100 square meters of ceiling,
allowing the fire to spread throughout Terminal A.
Besides the insulation material issue, the investigation committee also identified several other risk factors that worsened the situation.
Specifically, repair work in the Terminal A area was carried out unsafely by the welding team and did not comply with fire safety regulations. The failure to implement preventive measures and notify authorities about this work inadvertently created a hidden fire risk. If the welding team had followed regulations, the fire department could have been present at the scene in time and prevented the disaster from the early stages. But unfortunately, things did not go as desired. On the other hand, the airport's fire department at that time was not fully equipped with skills to handle indoor fires,
nor did they have a clear understanding of the airport's.
Additionally, the automatic fire alarm system was not synchronized, especially in the East Wing, where the terminal was built in the 1970s, sometime before modern fire safety standards were issued. It is clear that the fire incident at Dusseldorf Airport revealed serious limitations in the building's fire safety system. Specifically, the fire water pipe system installed in the stairwell was not directly connected to the city water supply but relied entirely on manual operation by firefighters.
The absence of automatic safety equipment, such as fire doors, fire partitions, and emergency exits of the aircraft parking area, allowed the fire to spread quickly and cause serious consequences.
If Terminal A had been
fully equipped with these fire safety devices, the fire could likely have been contained on the first floor. The most serious oversight that cannot be overlooked is that airport security personnel did not shut down the elevator system when the fire occurred, leading to the unfortunate deaths of 7 people trapped inside.
At the end of 1996,
the trial for the Dusseldorf Airport fire officially began. 2 welders, the airport's technical director, the architect, and related construction inspectors were prosecuted.
With the participation of 26 defense lawyers, 9 witnesses, and close media scrutiny, German public opinion had high expectations for a fair verdict. However, after 5.5 years of trial, the court delivered a shocking verdict by declaring all defendants not guilty. They argued that the deaths of 17 people could not be attributed to any individual.
Although no one was held criminally responsible for this incident, the 1996 disaster awakened all of German society.
The costly lesson from the Dusseldorf Airport fire showed city authorities that they must do more to ensure public safety. The station has been completely rebuilt.
At the same time, Terminal B was also renovated from scratch with a modern fire protection system, including automatic fire alarms, sprinklers, fire announcements, and emergency smoke exhaust systems. To ensure maximum safety for passengers, 36 emergency exits have been arranged along with fireproof partitions, effectively preventing the spread of fire and smoke. Most importantly, all walls, interior furnishings in the station, and other items are made of non-combustible materials.
This shows that Dusseldorf has learned an expensive lesson from the 1996 disaster. They never want history to repeat itself. Although much time has passed, the pain of losing 17 lives in the Dusseldorf tragedy seems to linger forever. This once again sounds the alarm about the paramount importance of complying with fire safety regulations,
so that similar disasters never happen again.
because there is no price higher than human life. And with that, the video has come to an end. If you found the video content helpful, please leave a like and share to let us know. Don't forget to subscribe to Con Ha. For now,
We bid you farewell and look forward to seeing you in future videos.
If the veil stirred, subscribe and meet the next encounter.